The art of screen printing.
Hey everybody, it's Lon and Cory with Graphic Elephants again. How are you, Cory?
Great.
Hey, last time we set up spot colors in Photoshop, but we were kind of kicking around the idea of what if we get bad art? We would never, of course, get that from GSG, but a lot of our other customers, we certainly get what we call the digital equivalent of camera-ready art. It's more of a bar napkin than actually usable art. So let's pretend we got bad art and take us through the steps on how we would rebuild that art, Cory.
All right. We're going to use Adobe Illustrator to do this exercise, but you can use Corel Draw. Really, a vector program is what you need for this situation. Like Lon said, sometimes you get bad art. This is a good example of that. Notice here, this is very low resolution. So you're getting this horrible sawtoothing along your edge. If you were to use this directly as is to output from, you would see these basically faint areas would be anti-aliasing, and then in your output device, you would most likely have this halftone. So it would have these very choppy edges along this logo, and that would look horrible just about any kind of design that you'd be doing. So we're going to use the pen tool, and we're just going to trace this shape and have a nice clean edge. So with your pen tool and a single black stroke, no fill, we're going to start here at the edge of the G on the corner, and we're going to click once to make a point. Then holding your shift key down, just to keep this straight edge and uniform, basically we're going to click over here where the straight edge ends, and now we have a nice straight edge. I'm going to pull this handlebar out. You kind of see it right here on the end. I'm going to basically move that around, but I'm going to actually have it come out a little further. This is going to help the trajectory of your next path and where it's going to go. We're going to actually put a point right here in the middle. So I'm going to click there once, and you can see how the art just kind of fell right into place. I'm going to pull the handlebar out just a little bit to make sure I get close to that edge. And then we have this 1/2 shape here. It's the same, almost identical at the bottom. So I'm going to deselect, make a selection of that path. And then we're going to mirror it to the bottom here. So using your reflect tool over here in your toolbox, go ahead and click on the point right here at the end. And then holding your option key down in Illustrator, you're going to see that there's a little white arrow that appears behind the black cursor arrow. This is what you're making a copy of any object. And you can see how it's kind of dangling here. If you hold your shift key down again, it'll lock it right into a straight position. And then go ahead, we're going to deselect this. And you can see that this is now 1/2 the shape of the G. However, these are not connected. You have to be careful of that. So what you want to do is you want to select both of them, go under Object, go to Path, go to Join, and it actually will join the 2 points. Now it is one complete path, but it's also open, so we still have to close it in order to fill it. Let's go back to our pen tool, and then going back to where we started on this point, we're going to rub the cursor over it, and there's a small diagonal that changes on the actual cursor. This is letting you know that you're starting on that point again. So holding your option key down, you click once, then hold your shift key down. Let's follow those straight lines again like we did before. We're going to come to this point, and then holding your option key down, I'm going to pull that handlebar back out again. So I'm going to keep it straight, just a little bit in parallel to where it was in the arc. And I'm going to click once, and then there's that arc again. You can see how it kind of followed it real nicely by pulling that handlebar out. We're going to go down here to do the same thing. We're going to click once and pull that arc, the handlebar back out to keep that arc. Then holding our shift key down again, we're going to just go to straight points. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we'll close it up at the end here. And now you have a complete path. Now you can just go ahead and fill it. And you can see now, look at the difference between the edge of this and the edge of the comp that was supplied. Very different, and this will look so much nicer representation when it prints. And then for the other G, holding your option key down, you just click and shift over, and it does a complete copy. You would do the S in the same format that we did the G. And as far as the wedges, those are pretty easy. Just 5 points. Start at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then using your free transform tool and your, well, we'll duplicate it. So holding your option key down and click and drag, you can see that white arrow is behind the cursor again. Using your free transform tool, just rotate it into place. Okay? And don't worry about this being perfectly accurate. What we're concerned about is legibility and making sure that there's representation for the client's logo. Because if you're sponsoring, you want to be able to see your logo for whatever sponsorship that you're doing. And that is the ease of making and recreating your logos.
That's great, Cory. It doesn't happen all that often, but when you do get bad art and you got to rebuild it from scratch, the other option would be to farm it out to somebody like GraphX that might be able to have that back to you by morning. We always say if it takes more than 15 minutes, we sometimes will farm out vectorization. But that's Cory, and I'm Lon, and we are Graphic Elephants, and this has been The Art of Screen Printing presented by GSG. We'll see you next time.
See ya.